You've all heard the story of the three little pigs, but I'm here to tell you the real story, the true story of the three little pigs, as told to John Seiska, told from the point of view of Alexander T. Wolf, or Al for short. I have no idea how the big bad wolf thing got started, but here's the real story about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Once upon a time, I was baking a birthday cake for my granny, and I had a terrible cold, and I ran out of sugar, so I went to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. This neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too smart either. His house was made from straw. Who makes a house out of straw? So of course, the minute I knocked, the door fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, Little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. Ow! And the whole darn house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just lying there, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a bit better. I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell at the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not gonna believe it, but his house fell down too, just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. Now you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling better, and I still didn't have my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had his house built out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Mr. Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I sniffed and I sneezed again. Then the third little pig yelled, And your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually pretty calm, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, Of course I was trying to break down that pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all that huffing and puffing and blow your house down stuff. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But, maybe you could let me borrow a cup of sugar?